What is Islam? What are the sources of Islam? What are the sources of Islam? What is Islam?
Burada sen ifşa oldun.
Nereye? Gidiyorum.
Hi, this is Edip. Nouman Ali Khan, he's a young man. I don't know really even where he's from, but he talks well. He appears to be very confident about his knowledge, about his faith. There is a video of him with Turkish subtitles. He is defending Sunnah. First, I want to ask you to check this book. You can download it free, PDF. It is comparing the verses of the Quran with the so-called Sunnah and Hadith. And there is extensive table comparison on many issues. Please study this one. You will see that the religion, I should not use the word even religion, which is wrong, the system of Islam, peacemaking, according to the Quran, is very, very different than Hadith and Sunnah and sectarian jurisprudence. And also this is our translation of the Quran, a reformist translation. You may find it as PDF, though we had some revisions, some corrections, improvement of the language. Therefore, if you find the newest version, it is at Amazon.com or other online websites. Now, let's listen a few words because we don't have much time. You can listen to this gentleman. By the way, I don't want to forget, I invite this gentleman for a discussion. I had a debate with many top religious scholars in Turkey. The head of religious affairs, former head of religious affairs, Professor Dr. Süleyman Ateş. He escaped from the studio, live studio, in front of millions of viewers. He escaped twice. He couldn't continue a one-to-one conversation, discussion, debate. And Shamsi Ali, he was the imam of New York's biggest mosque on 97th Street, if I remember correctly. You can see that one also at my YouTube channel. One was Edip Yüksel, Süleyman Ateş. Try to type it, find the Turkish spelling of it. If you put it there, you will find my debate with him. You will see he's escaping. Well, try to understand if you know English, Turkish. But my discussion debate with Shamsi Ali, Imam Shamsi Ali, he's not Imam anymore, but he is the fanciest Imam. He was meeting the President of the United States. You will see how he starts discussion with me with confidence, with smile on his face in his own mosque, sitting next to me. When the issue comes about Hadith and Sunnah, when I question based on reason and the Quran, the verses of the Quran, and how the topography of his face changes from smiling to bewilderment and shock, and then anger, frustration, and accusations and anger, and leaving his own mosque. And I still sitting on the chair in the middle of the mosque. The crew is recording, and you will see how he's escaping and looking behind. Also, it is at YouTube. You will see Edip Yüksel running like zebras. It is a documentary about 4 or 5 chapters. One of the section is my discussion with Shamsi Ali and many others. Therefore, if this gentleman is honest in his belief, if he's sincere, I invite him to discuss Quran, Hadith, and Sunnah. And he's talking, of course, he's hiding the truth, and he's also, well, I'm not saying that he's doing intentional. Perhaps he's very ignorant of the Quran. And let's see what he's saying. Few words. Okay, go.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين.
This very start is absolutely in many ways against the Quran. I passed this one. You will find in some of my videos or writings. But it is filled with the distortions and basically idolization of Muhammad. No more different than Christians.
A concept that I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, you know, sometimes I like talking about ayat of the Quran in a vacuum, and sometimes I like to talk about the ayat of the Quran in the context of the time and the age in which we live. One of the problems that I've seen occur as of late, and I think it's been around for a long time, but I've just seen more and more of it, I've seen emails about it, and I get contacted about it, is this idea that, you know, we should really take the Quran very seriously, but the Prophet ﷺ, the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is secondary, or it's, you know, it's questionable, we're not sure if Hadith is as protected as the Quran is, and, you know, and the entire corpus of the Sunnah, like the Prophet ﷺ, even from a philosophical perspective, different kinds of criticisms are made. One kind of criticism made is, it's not as preserved as the Quran is, it's not as well preserved. Another kind of criticism made is, well, even if it is preserved, well, really what makes him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the messenger, is the fact that he delivered the message, and the message is the Quran. So really we should keep the eyes on the prize. The primary is the Quran, and we should not get distracted by that. The Sunnah is there, but it doesn't apply the way the Quran does. Some people have gone even as far as to say that taking the Sunnah, you know, as a divine source of guidance is tantamount to shirk, because you're taking the actions of a human being and you're equating them with the action or the words of Allah. Right? So these kinds of arguments are floating around. They're made online. There are people that purport them, etc. And I was exposed to a lot of this criticism or this kind of weird thinking later. What I will tell you for myself personally, I became a student of the Quran, I keep saying almost 15 years ago, and I was fascinated with this book, and one of the first lessons that I could not escape was how the best defense, the most powerful defense of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is actually the Quran. There is no better defense of the legacy of Sunnah than the Book of Allah itself. In other words, there's no way somebody can actually say that they believe in the Quran and they don't believe in the Sunnah. The only...
Okay. He's basically conflating Quran with so-called Sunnah. Now, first, he says he became student of the Quran. And then he talks about Sunnah of Prophet, and then talks about a Bayina project, abuse the name of the Quran. A project supposedly, they will justify every hadith with the verse of the Quran, of course, by distorting, absolutely distorting the meaning of words and the context of the verses. They tried, of course we know it. God. And therefore, through Sunnah, what he means, of course, it is hadith books. But how a student of the Quran, an elementary student of the Quran, can use the word Sunnah for the deeds of Prophet Muhammad, so-called allegedly the words of Prophet Muhammad, narrations. I heard from Ibn Falan, from Abu Falan, from that, and then Prophet Muhammad said this. Prophet Muhammad did this. Prophet Muhammad gouged people's eyes with hot nails. Prophet Muhammad put a woman on 2 horses and split into half. Or Prophet Muhammad pointed at the moon, split the moon. According to another narration, half of the moon fell in Ali's backyard. I saw Prophet Muhammad stone a woman to death. We saw Prophet Muhammad got bewitched by a Jew, and for 3 days he didn't know what he was doing. He was wandering around in Medina, bewitched, mashoor. And Prophet Muhammad said he went up into the 7th heaven, and up from 6th heaven to 7th heaven, Many times God ordered 50 times, not units, 50 times prayer, and then Prophet Muhammad haggled with God after getting frequent advices from Moses, who knew how to calculate. Simple fact that 50 prayers a day, it's not possible to do. And God is very, very cruel. God doesn't know that humans cannot do. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. No, God is not breaking his promise. And Muhammad, after getting advice from Moses, who could calculate that 50 prayers a day means every 28 minutes, day and night, without sleeping, without eating, every 28 minutes. And they don't have digital time keeping either. And therefore, and thank God, Prophet Muhammad was more merciful than God, and with the help of Moses, we were able to do finally 5 times a day. In one day, the worst cruel torture person on earth that gouges people's eyes with hot nail, chop their hands and arms and legs off, and leave them dying while they are thirsty, asking for water, denying even the water in their last moment. And such a person, stoning people to death, the most barbaric act, which was imported from pagans. Jewish people distorted the word rajim, which is excommunication in the Torah, means temporarily or indefinitely excommunicating from society certain criminals. Excommunication, rajim, shaitan al-rajim. God did not stone Satan to death, Iblis to death, with rocks. It was excommunication. But the word in Arabic, they turn it to rajim, stoning to death, and it doesn't even exist in the Quran as a punishment for adultery. And they made up a story in Hadith, in Sunnah books. And there was a verse in the Quran, الشيخ والشيخة إذا زنيا فارجموهما البتة. This is a satanic verse. And it is in Hadith books, Sahih Hadith, 6 gods. They have the idols, many idols, but they're bigger. Their Sunnis have 6 big idols next to the Quran, associate partners to God, to God's word. Allah wa Rasulah, they separate God from messenger. Messenger's whole mission was to deliver God's message. وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغِ. Messenger means postman. Exactly. It is used, the same word is used to describe the postman, messenger of Pharaoh, Rasul. Rasul doesn't add anything, doesn't even explain. The teacher of the Quran is God. Ar-Rahman allama al-Quran. Kitabun mubin. Anyway, these are, I have discussed this in many places. I don't want to enter that. And according to this verse was there. It was written on the Quran, on the leather. It was under Aisha's bed. After Prophet Muhammad, yes, there was this verse about stoning to death. And what happened to that one? A goat, a really hungry goat, came, ate it. Thank God. It disappeared. That means we are no more going to stone each other to death. Thank God. It is a horrible, very cruel punishment. Any human being with little heart and mind would not do that. You will not go stone a human being live to death by stoning. No, no dear. That hungry goat was also a holy goat. Holy goat! That goat is very interesting. He ate it, means made it mansukh. They also mistranslate, distort the meaning of verse 2:106 as if there is verses of the Quran invalidate each other, abrogate each other. They call it nasikh mansukh, which is another satanic story. Absolutely, verses of the Quran, they do not contradict each other, they do not abrogate each other. It is about miracles of the Quran, miracles of the past prophets. Some of them could be forgotten, some of them temporary, that you don't have those miracles. God will replace with similar or better miracles. Ayat, singular form, 84 times in the Quran, always about signs of God, miracles. We call it miracles. Ayat, plural form, refers to the verses of the Quran and also miracles. But ayat in singular form in 84 places, it's always about signs of God, which is 2106 is about a miracle if it is forgotten or if it is lost. God will replace it with a better one, with similar or a better miracle. Like mathematical structure of the Quran based on number 19, which these guys hate and they distort many of the facts in order to hide it from people. Like this one proves that the Quran is greatest miracle. And they killed this guy based on their Sunnah. Sunnis killed this guy. They discovered the whole crime of this guy was to prove that the Quran was the word of God, letter by letter, protected, preserved by God, by mathematical code. And also he exposed the religion they fabricated, falsely attribute to Prophet Muhammad with religion of Sunnism, with 4 sects, or Shiism with multiple other sects. Has nothing to do with Islam, has nothing to do with peacemaking. Anyway, yes, and then according to this Nasikh Mansukh, they say, well, the goat ate it, hungry goat, but it is not there textual, it is textually, it is not there, it is abrogated, but as far as its legislative power, its authority, its practice, it is still valid. They call it hukum. Matan means from text, it is mansukh, but hukum means its authority, legal authority, it is still. Therefore, when they get power, absolutely, they will stone people to death. This guy will do the same. Because the book, Hadith book, Sunnah is there. Now, go back to the beginning. The beginning, this gentleman says what? Sunnah. I am student of the Quran, talks about the Quran. But a student, elementary student of the Quran would know that the word Sunnah does not mean Muhammad's actions or words. Has nothing to do with it. Quran, the word Sunnah, the Quran uses always as Sunnatullah. Sunnatullah. God's law. وَلَنْ تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا وَلَنْ تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَحْوِيلًا. It is God's law that it refers to God's law, social law, political, economic law in this world. When God says messengers invite people to become free from the clergymen who insert themselves between people and God in order to exploit people economically, spiritually, politically, in every way. And God wants us to be free. You are all children of Adam. You have only one creator. There is no intercessors between you and God. You can pray to God. God will answer your prayer. Don't go through any intercessors. Messengers will only deliver to God. They will say there is only one God. We are not gods. We are not intercessors. They invite people to be free. God has all the beautiful attributes. God is the truth, haqq. You seek the truth all the time. God is justice, al-adl. You seek the justice, you seek God. God is compassion, rahim. You fill yourself with compassion. And all these attributes. Some of the attributes only possible for God, but some of the attributes in a very limited way we can try to achieve, try to improve ourselves as a goal for ourselves. Sunnatullah وَلَنْ تَجِدَ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا. Therefore the laws, when they invited as messengers of God, invited people to be free, to be just, to be in solidarity, helping each other, not to fight over their tribes or nations, different tribe. God says in chapter 49, verse 13, لقد خلقنا وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا شعوبا وقبائل. Let me open the verse somehow. Early morning. I know the verse very well somehow. نجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل. But before that, I think الذكر والأنثى. Okay, let me check the verse there. يا أيها الناس, the last verse. يا أيها الناس, O people, إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى. We have created you from a male and female. وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل, and we made you شعوبا وقبائل, tribes and whatever the word, I don't know in English right now. Call it races, possibility. You can translate that way because the word race, it is like this: شعوب, shab, nation, yeah, different nations and tribes. لتعارفوا, in order to get to know each other, to intermingle. إن أكرمكم عند الله يتقاكم. The most honorable one among you, the best among you, are the ones who are righteous, who stay away from bad deeds. إن الله عليم خبير. God is knowledgeable and knows things, aware of things. Now, some people may have a problem. I put the manuscript on the floor. Wow! They worship the paper and ink. Moses threw the tablet, which was much more divine than the paper here. But it was not, the issue is they ignore the verses of the Quran, but they worship the paper and ink. And that's the idol worship, very popular among Muslims. Go back to word Sunnah. As I said, that they invited people to reason, to question their dogmas, religious dogmas inherited from their ancestors. All messengers challenged dogmas. All messengers were deemed, which perceived by people, majority of people, as heretics. They were questioners, they were skeptics, they were agnostics. In fact, they started with La ilaha. There's no God. Reject all the dogmas or the gods created by the society and impose on you when you were a child. Reject all these religious things. And then, with extraordinary evidences, with bayin and burhan and ayah, find the truth. And then reason, and then be free. Only God, and all we are equal. We are children of Adam. Our races and nations and borders we have created should not separate from each other. We are all the same, man and woman, male and female. There is no difference. This verse equalizes everyone, and the only way of being better than the other is through good deeds. Fantastic verse. And then justice, solidarity. There should not be hungry people, homeless people in society, a moral society. And then there should be peace. Peace, Islam, peacemaking. Muslim means a peacemaker. In order to peace happen, people need to be free. People need to support each other. And basic necessities should be shared by the society. And in such an environment, you can establish wonderful peace. Anyway, Sunnatullah means God's law, and when messengers delivered message, when societies, corrupt societies, or societies who worship their religious or political leaders were so arrogant and so ignorant, and they rejected, and then they got punished. The punishment is in many ways. For example, the capitalistic system is abusing the nature, extravagancy, overconsumption. Here we are punished by God through global warming and other disasters. Or when you invade other countries, you kill many people, and then there will be some angry, very angry people who lost their parents or brothers or their homes or wounded. They will be very angry. They become, in your terms, terrorists. But what you did, it was bigger terrorism. And it is a way the divine system works, which is called Sunnatullah. Anyway, again, let me repeat. Oh, this is one of the covers made for the new edition of my Turkish translation. I love this one. And this one, Turkish. I have English and Turkish translation of the Quran. This is Mesaj, and this is 14th edition, but the new editions will have in 3 different dimensions. Again, I'm not making a penny from my books on religion. This I don't get any royalty for this message or for this Quran translation. Anyway, this gentleman, I invite him to discuss this issue. If he's able, he can contact me. We can arrange a discussion, a debate in front of the people about what is Islam. And absolutely he's wrong. He's leading you to the wrong direction, because as long as you follow Hadith and Sunnah, as long as you say Quran needs Sunnah, or Sunnah is the same, Hadith is the same as the Quran, you will not be able to save yourself from these miserable, horrible conditions that you are in. About 57 so-called Muslim countries, they are all afflicted with ignorance, with all kinds of oppressions, with tyranny, backwardness, all sorts of poverty. The common denominator is this Hadith and Sunnah. Infected. From this disease, in order to save yourself, you need to say God alone, Quran alone. مخلصين له الدين. I want to also invite you to check 19.org. Over there you will see Manifesto for Islamic Reform. You will see also Peacemaker's Constitution. Me and another friend of mine, Lace, together we designed a draft constitution based on the principles of the Quran. Islam has nothing to do with Sunnism or Shiism. Also there you will find sectometer or theometer. Theometer. Check the first page. Find first page. Control F. First page. The title of the article. Search for the, instead of searching the whole site, just search the title. Search theometer or sectometer. You will find a 2-page 45 multiple choice questions. Very interesting. Very interesting. I designed those questions. I put together that test the night before my first conference at Oxford University. Here is the picture of the second conference. Oh, this monkey is here. Oh my gosh, this is the second conference. I am this guy in the middle, and this guy died from India. God bless him. And where is this article? Here. Sorry. Okay. Here is the name of the people who participated the second. Some of them. It is here. This book is available. Critical Thinkers for Islamic Reform. Okay. And this book is a very impressive book. Good discussion, defense of Islam against Islamophobes. Few of them here. Warmongers. This is my Turkish autobiography, but the English one is coming. And this one. These are Turkish books. In case you are curious about here. And there is I have tripod. This is one of the cartoons I made it. If you are curious about that one, try to find the title of the cartoon. Anyway, okay. Why I'm doing this? I'm very distracted right now. Okay. Okay, now the first conference I put together these test, and very interesting. It was a small conference, only 30 professors and doctorate students at Oxford University, and I asked them to put their name there and their sect, empty spaces, and also there was another place that they could write down any sect they belong. And the questionnaire was in a way that the most important issues were Hadith and so-called Sunnah, not Sunnatullah, but Sunnah to Bukhari, Sunnah to Muslim, Tirmizi, and Ibn Majah, Ibn Hanbal, their Sunnah, fake Sunnah. What they contradict each other, and the question basically highlights the contradictions. The correct answer is the lost answer. I should not have said this to you. Anyway, go read that one. The professors and the students took that test, and then afterwards they all lost their lives multiple times according to their own religion, their own sect. None survived. Some of them lost their lives more than 30 times, because in 30 places they chose the answers according to the Quran, not according to Hadith and Sunnah. And in some of them it was so serious, according to their own sect, they were deemed heretic or apostate, murtad, and they would be deserving to be killed if their sect or religion was in power, if it were in power. Therefore, I told them, hello, you guys, none of you would survive if your religion would be in power. You would lose your lives multiple times. What kind of religion you have? You are not believing what you are claiming to be. What is it? And there was a silence, a moment of silence, and they were smart people. And they couldn't deny the fact, because their tests were in my hand. Their name was written in their hand, and they had picked accordingly. And they knew they couldn't defend. And one of them, I wish I had recorded. That time I was not recording. I think it was 2008. This one is 2010. This one is 6/11/2010. 11 of June 2010. The second, but this one, it was 2008. I was not recording. One of the professor who had his wife next to him, he was tall, says, please just one hadith, one single hadith. He was ready to give up all hadith, but somehow, for souvenir reasons, for some satanic reasons, he wanted to keep one hadith. Satan knows. He was whispering to his ear, keep one little hole so that I can later and first one hadith sneak in, and then I will make it bigger, and then one hadith is okay, then the second hadith is similar, that's also good, and then I can sneak in candies, and inside candies I will insert poison. That's the way Satan works. I said, no, not even one idol. Whether one idol or billions of idols, doesn't matter, the same thing. Because the moment you say one hadith, you say God is not enough, the Quran is not enough, the Quran is not mubin, the Quran is not mufassal, is not detailed, the Quran is not tammat kalimatu rabbika sidqan wa adla. You reject many verses of the Quran. Al-hukmu illa lillah. many, many verses of the Quran. You make Prophet Muhammad follow the Quran. That's it. And the Quran is alive among us. God is alive. Muhammad is dead, gone. Interestingly, hadith books fabricated centuries after Muhammad. Bukhari, 230 years after Muhammad. If hadith was such needed, let's ignore all the verses of the Quran. If hadith so important to understand the Quran, to stone people to death, to put women in a black sack, to have slavery, if hadith is that needed, then Prophet Muhammad would have it written during his time. And the most mutawatir hadith, according to your own scholars, is لا تكتبوا عني سوى القرآن فمن كتبه فليمحو. Do not write anything besides the Quran. If anyone written, let him delete it. That's it. And this is the most mutawatir, means comes from different sanad, from different chain of narrators. What happened to that one? Well, one single hadith someone fabricates. Well, I told you before, don't write, now you can write. All these mutawatir hadiths, hundreds of them, through to the garbage. Interestingly, there is a hadith when Prophet Muhammad is in his deathbed. In that one too, they are not writing. Last moment. Contradictions over contradictions. But Khan, what was your name? Your last name Khan. I invite you to discuss this, but like Zaki Naik, perhaps you will escape. But I hope not. I hope you are honest and sincere. And if you really want to inform issues on this issue, want to refute our position, Quran alone position, come on, face to face. Challenge. Peace. Salam.